Airports are supposed to be places of order, routine, and movement. But for one man, a simple flight turned into a moment that revealed how deeply prejudice still runs in our world. He was no ordinary passenger. A black CEO, polished suit, first-class ticket in hand, the picture of success. He had worked his way from nothing to the top, building a company, earning respect, and finally stepping into spaces people once said he'd never belong. But at that boarding gate, none of it mattered. The attendant scanned his pass, paused, and gave a look he'd seen before. Her smile tightened. Her tone sharpened. "I'm sorry, sir, but this seat isn't for you." The words cut sharper than any knife. Behind him, passengers shifted uncomfortably. Some whispered, others avoided eye contact. They all knew what was happening, but no one spoke up. This wasn't about policy. It wasn't about a mistake. It was about perception. About prejudice. He tried to stay calm. "Check again," he said firmly. But another staff member stepped forward, arms crossed, eyes filled with suspicion. "Sir, please step aside. You're holding up the line." Step aside. Those two words carried the weight of history. Generations told they didn't belong. Generations told to move out of the way. But he wasn't a man who stepped aside anymore. Not after everything he had built. Not after everything he had fought for. And so, instead of lowering his head, he reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. One call. That's all it would take. The staff didn't know who he was. They didn't know the influence he carried. They didn't know that the very company they worked for had ties to people who owed him more than favors, they owed him their careers. Passengers watched in silence as he spoke into the phone, his voice calm, measured, unshaken. Seconds later, a supervisor rushed to the gate. Apologies poured in, policies were re-explained, and suddenly the same man they dismissed was being addressed with forced respect. But here's the truth, no apology could erase what had already been done. No sudden politeness could cover up the humiliation. Because at that gate, the world saw what happens when racism collides with power, and how quickly respect changes when the system is forced to answer for its prejudice. This wasn't just about one man and one flight. It's about all of us. About dignity. About refusing to step aside. And if you believe stories like this must be told, then don't let this video end here. Like, comment, and subscribe to Racism Talks for more powerful stories that reveal the truth and demand change.